Yo, what's cracking? So as artists, of course, there are some times where we feel ourselves getting completely uninspired to do anything at all. We don't have any ideas, we have no motivation to go anywhere with our craft. Sometimes we even get to the point where we're thinking of giving up just because we can't come up with anything. But this is completely normal. Everybody does this. I do it all the time, and so I thought it would be helpful if I shared my kind of top way of getting unstuck from that creative rut. So really today I have kind of one big thing and then three like honorable mentions, if you will. And I'll do the honorable mentions first just to get those out of the way because they're quick, and then get to the big one. And I'm gonna keep this video pretty short because I don't wanna take up too much of your time. I want you to get out and create for yourself. Maybe take some of these tips and kind of get them working, get them in action. So my first honorable mention tip is listen to new music. A lot of the tips that I have heard about getting inspired to create new things on your own have been somewhat relating to or along the lines of listen to your favorite music and see how it sounds, listen to how it's produced and mixed and all that. And while that can be great as a kind of A/B tool to compare your mix to someone else's or kind of make sure you're getting the right amount of ear candy or whatever in there, it's really a stifler as far as creativity goes, in my opinion. I find that I'm the least inspired when I'm listening to my favorite music, which actually kind of makes sense because I'm listening to my favorite music all the time. So when I'm not feeling creative and just completely uninspired, I whip out my phone and I look through my Spotify recommendations. I look through my Instagram stories because I follow a whole bunch of musicians on Instagram and they're always posting stories with new and different music in it. In fact, for the sake of the video, let's look at Instagram right now and see what my friends have on their stories. All right, so let's just hop into Instagram here and see what we got. All right, right off the bat, we got some 311. I listen to 311 all the time, so that's not really helpful for me. Let's go into my friend CJ's story. All right, here we go. We have some different music here. I don't listen to this guy too much, so maybe I'll go out and listen to him. Let's check out Internal Command. See, he just posts stuff that's really cool all the time, so I can just go look at any of his posts and it's new and different, and maybe it inspires me to do stuff. That's another cool thing. Ooh, we got some ambient stuff. And I have a prologue, so I can do this. That's cool. See, Instagram is a great tool, and social media in general, for finding new music, new sources of inspiration. Just listen to something different. All right, so my next big tip is to just take a break. You see especially YouTubers doing this all the time because, quite frankly, it's a really time-consuming and just exhausting job in general. No matter how much you love it, it's really exhausting. But music is definitely like that, and sometimes you just gotta step back for couple hours, couple days, couple weeks, sometimes even a couple months. Just kind of let the creative juices regather themselves or whatever they do. But that's really helpful, I've found. It's just taking a good break. No matter how short or long it is, just a good break will do. Another option that I think is really useful is to take an idea that sounds kind of like okay, you know, kind of like meh, kind of mid, and run it through some plugin that like completely obliterates it, like a distortion or reverb or a delay or like a time stretcher or something like that. So I'm gonna make an example of that right now. Let's jump into my software. All right, so I've kind of programmed in something really basic. It's a little baseline kind of thing, kind of boring, but I programmed it in and it's running through my mini mode plugin right now. So let's see how it sounds. So kind of boring, but we could do some cool stuff with it. So first, let's try running it through a distortion, and my distortion of choice is going to be Trash 2. Okay, so that's kind of fun, so maybe we'll slow it down a little bit. That could be almost like a cool synthwave bass. Like, I'm already getting some ideas from that. So let's keep that how it is at the moment, and we'll move on from that. So then maybe what we'll do is let's get rid of trash real quick, and then let's put on a, like, just for the sake of having an example, let's do supermassive, and then let's tune both of our oscillators up by an octave. So maybe we're going for like an ambient kind of thing. So then we just mix all the way to wet, make it a reverb. Okay, that's cool. Maybe we'll EQ it. That's pretty cool. That could go like in the background or something, or like lead up to it. You could kind of like try to make the notes a little less defined, but that's going a cool place. You could definitely work with that. But like, just see how I took a bass line, just like something super basic, and then made it both really like nasty synthwave bass line and then also weird ambient thing. Like, you can go in any direction with anything basically, as long as you destroy the audio enough. So that's a good source of inspiration, is just murder the audio. All right, so now here's my big tip. This is like the #1 tip for inspiration. And we're going to kind of use the bass line from the last bit that we did, this guy. So that's pretty cool. I already have some ideas about how I want to treat this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to plug in my drum machine and we're gonna see where it takes us. All right, so I've hooked up my drum brute here. We're gonna set the tempo to the same. I'm not gonna do any kind of MIDI or control voltage syncing on this. We're just gonna wing it. And then what I've also done on my computer over there is I have looped the bass line 9 times so that we can get 1 for a count in and then 8 that we can record over and see what kind of ideas we can come up with. So it was kind of a fun jam. I don't know. That cooked up some ideas, maybe put some cool chords with it, maybe speed it up a little bit. I don't know about that tempo, but definitely some ideas for me just from jamming around a little bit. If it wasn't obvious, the tip is play on hardware. use hardware. If you have a MIDI controller or a drum machine or a synthesizer like the Prologue or whatever that is physical that you can get your hands on, that is way more inspiring than anything you can do in software. So that's my number one tip, is play with hardware if you can. It's not super expensive, just all you need is like a MIDI controller or something, map all the parameters to the knobs on it and just play around. That's all you need. If you have synthesizers, great, even better. Probably just stuff you already have. Alright, so those are my tips to staying inspired, getting out of a creative rut, whatever you need to do to just keep the juices flowing. Listen to new music, take a break, obliterate whatever you have going on and just make something entirely new out of it, and try to mess around with hardware if you can. That's really the biggest one, and that's kind of the reason I made this video, is because that's how I get most of my ideas, is messing around on hardware. Hardware is infinitely more inspiring than software will ever be. Like, no matter how many more sounds you can make with digital soft synths, it doesn't really matter, because you can only tweak one knob at a time on a digital software synth. So to actually be able to sit there at some unit and mess around with all the different parameters, it inspires you, no matter how limiting it is. Like, even if you had like a Prophet 5 or something really basic like that. Like, I even get inspired messing around with my Crave, and that's one oscillator. So it's really limited. There are no presets or anything, but I get so inspired because you can sit there and mess with it and it makes cool sounds. So yeah, those are my tips to stay inspired, and I hope you found them pretty useful, and maybe you'll go out and try one or more or all of them. Thanks for watching a whole bunch. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing, because I'll be doing a whole bunch more like synthesizer music stuff on this channel in the future. Maybe more videos like this, just trying to get you in the loop of staying inspired, that kind of thing. And if you really liked it, then maybe even consider joining my Patreon, which is only $1 a month. There's a link in the description below if you'd like to join that. A little goes a long way to support me, and you get extra content. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.